Okay, welcome back. So today I just want us to do a project, right? So we've started doing projects. We've done an installment project. We've also done an ATM project, which was really exciting. And so now we're going to be doing a receipt application, if you can think of it that way. So, what do I mean by receipt application? Well, what we're essentially going to do is we're just going to be having, right? So, we're going to be having an array of snacks, right? So, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to have an array of snacks, right? We're going to have an array of snacks. And the array of snacks is also going to have uh, the prices. So, for example, if we are selling Doritos, Doritos needs to have a price in order for someone to be able to buy it, right? So we're also going to have an array of price. Not only that, but since it's a receipt application, the person is probably not only going to be buying one thing, not buying one thing, but they probably are not only going to be buying one particular item, or they're not only going to be buying one of that particular thing. So, for example, if someone is buying five Doritos, right, we need to take that into account. Our program needs to accommodate for that situation where someone is buying more than one food item. So we will need to specify, we will need to specify the quantity, right? The quantity of the food item, right? And so after all of that is then finished, right? Excuse me, after the user has chosen the snacks, and after the user has specified the quantity, we will then sort of give them their total on their purchase. So what we will have here is we will have our variables, but what I just want to go over is in this video, or this project that we're going to be doing, we will be going over parallel arrays, right? We will be looking at how parallel arrays are effectively used, right? A real use case of parallel arrays, because it's not about, again, I've said this before, it's not about you learning arrays. It's not about you learning parallel arrays. It's you understanding how can you actually implement them? How can you actually use them, in a project? How can you apply them towards a particular question? So that's what we're going to be doing, and we're going to be having two arrays. We're going to have an array of snacks and an array of prices, right? So the array of snacks, as you can guess, it basically stores all the snacks. So we have Doritos, Oreos, Pringles, Reese's Butter, Goldfish, Cheetos, M&Ms, Cheez-Its, and gummy bears. And I think it continue. No, it stops there. So we have gummy bears at the end, and then we basically have an array, a corresponding array of prices. So Doritos are 17 bucks 32. Oreos are 22 bucks 99. Pringles are 18 rand 87. Reese's butter is 27 rand. So do not worry too much about the prices and think that that's the actual prices. No, I just made up these prices, so just for simplicity's sake. So these are the prices of these corresponding snacks that are here. So the Doritos is 17, and then the Oreos is 18, etc., etc., etc. So first of all, we have a string, right? We have a string variable called food. So what is the food variable doing? The food, it's the user input. You're going to be getting the user input, right? So whenever the user, says what they want to buy. So if the user wants to buy Doritos, or if the user wants to buy Oreos, that is going to be stored in the foods variable. And then we have integer quantity. So the quantity, we are going to be asking the user, you said you wanted to buy Oreos. How many do you want to buy? You want to buy one, you want to buy two, you want to buy three, you want to buy four. So then that value, that integer value, is going to be stored in the quantity variable. And then we have double our price. We will cover the our price later. And then double total. This one is quite self-explanatory in a sense that we are going to be storing the total value. So if the user says they want to buy Oreos and they want to buy five Oreos, well, the total is going to be the entire sum or the entire output or the total basically of their purchase. So that's what this total variable is going to be storing. So then in the first real menu line, we're going to be having snacks, right? And then we're going to have a space, and then we're going to have price, right? So we're going to have price, right? So why are we doing this? It's because it's more like a menu, right? So we are writing down or having our display. How would we want our menu to look like? So we would want to have the snacks on the left and then have the price on the right. We want to have some form of space in between, right? So we have snacks on the left and price on the right. And then I just put this just for decorations, if you can call it that. So we then have our array of snacks, right? So we have Doritos, Oreos, Pringles, and all of that stuff. And then we also have our array of price, right? So we have 17 Rand, 32 cents, 22 Rand, 18, 27, etc., etc. And then we have integer size. So I've went over the size of operator. So size of snacks, size of that, it's a string. And so it basically gets the size of the snacks, right? But what I told you guys in the parallel arrays video is that the beautiful thing about parallel arrays is that you only need to get the size of one array, and you can use that size on a for loop that can display both arrays. So what's happening here is we are now displaying the snacks array, all the elements in the snacks array on the left, and then we are displaying all of the price array, all of this on the right, right? So snacks on the left, price on the right, right? And so we have a new line character that basically indicates that we want our items to go one below another. And the reason being why, you might see me doing things like this now instead of just, coding it out with you guys as I explain, is because, some of you guys have, inquired about the fact that, you'll don't necessarily understand that much when I do that, or it's more of just an information overload, right? So, if I'm coding it out with you guys whilst I'm explaining it, you guys feel that it's a bit too much to, grasp at once. And so you'll want me to sort of have already the entire thing built out, and so that I can be able to then explain what the function of each particular thing is. Hopefully that will improve your user experience and also your studying with my videos and stuff. But again, if you guys have any other queries, maybe, if you want me to just continue back with, coding it out with you guys, where I will basically just code out the entire project, and I have to explain, or I'm explaining the entire steps or procedures whilst I'm coding the entire project out, you can just let me know, right? But anyway, going back to what we were doing, so the for loop, it basically ends. So it started here, and then the for loop ended here. And then we have the next line. So the next line is going to be, what will you purchase? So, and then we have the get line function. So we went over the get line function. It allows us to essentially have a space in between our string inputs. So if you want to write down your surname or your name and your surname, there should be a space in between your name and your surname. So the getLine function allows us to separate those two things and also store them into one input variable. So that's what we are doing here. And then when we come down here, we have the quantity. So for example, here, let's just go back to this getLine function. So we have the cin and then the food. So what happens is if the person says that they want Doritos, then Doritos is what's going to be stored in this food variable. And so then on the next line we have, so let's just say that, let's just go up here and say Doritos is equals to food, right? And so let's just go down here to the quantity. So we'll cn the quantity. So if the person says, I want 5 Doritos, right? So 5 is then going to be equals to quantity, right? And then we go down to this for loop. Now the for loop is very important. The for loop is very important. So the for loop starts here and then it ends here. Now the reason why I'm saying it's important is because this is where all the real work happens, right? It's only a couple lines of code. It's actually just 3 lines of code, but that's where a lot of you guys tend to get confused. So we said for integer I, it starts whilst I is equals to 0, but because it's an array, the 0 with index is actually the first element. So integer I is equals to 0, I is less than size. What is size, right? What's size? Well, size, it's the size of the snacks array, right? Size is the size of the snacks array, but the beautiful thing, again, about parallel arrays is that you can have a size, or you can get the size of one array, and you can use a for loop to then iterate over 2 parallel arrays, right? Because they essentially have the exact same length. So whilst I this in size plus plus. And so now I'm saying if snacks I, right? So snacks I, it's basically going to be at the first index, right? So it's going to be at Doritos, right? If snacks I is equals to food, what is food? It's the user input that we're going to be getting. So if snacks I is equals to food, then what I want you to do is say our price is going to be equals to the quantity, which is 5 in our example, multiplied by price I. So let me just explain that whole process, right? So we have snacks I equals to food. Let me just say that, let's just say that the user inputted not Doritos, but let's just say it's goldfish. Let's just say that the user inputted goldfish. So we have goldfish here. So it's going to come down here, right? So I is equals to 0. I is equals to 0, that's equals to Doritos. Is Doritos equals to goldfish? No. So it's going to then loop again, right? So when it loops again, now I is equals to Oreos. Is Oreos equals to goldfish? No. So it's going to then loop again. So now it's looping for the third time. Now I, snacks I, this line, snacks I, is now at Pringles. But is Pringles equals to goldfish? No, it's not. So then it's going to move on to the next one, Reese's, right? So snacks I is now basically looping for the 4th time. So is Reese's butter equals to goldfish, which is this food variable? No. So then it's going to move on to the next one up until it finds a corresponding value, which is goldfish. So finally, snacks I is now equals to food. And when that happens, we are now saying that our price is equals to quantity, which was 5, multiply that 5 by price I. So as, now please just pay attention, as this for loop is looping, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The price array is also looping, right? So it's also going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when it gets to 5, because when it gets to 5, that means that our condition is now met. We have finally found a match for the food and the food user input and the snacks value or the snacks element in the array. So now the price I is actually equals to, I think, 16, right? And so now I'm saying 16 multiplied by 5, right? And that is then going to give you your total value. So let's just go down here. And so when we now go down here, we say stdc out your total is, our price, which is this guy, right? Okay, so let's just run this application. What will you purchase? Let's go. Goldfish. What is your quantity? 5. Your total is 18 Rand. You can do the math on that if you want to, but let's just run the application again. Let's just run the application. Oh, sorry. Let's just, okay. So let's go for, let's just go for Doritos. What's the quantity? 3. 51 Rand, right? And so let's compile the program again. And so we're now going to say, let's just order gummy bears, right? Everyone loves gummy bears. How many gummy bears do you want? Why the hell are gummy bears so expensive? Jesus Christ. How many gummy bears do you want? Give me 10 gummy bears. 780, right? So that's it. I don't know why gummy bears are so expensive. 78 Rand. Who the hell is buying gummy bears for 78 Rand? Let's just change that. Ain't no way gummy bears are 78 Rand. Let's make them 24. Ridiculous. How in the world are gummy bears 78 Rand? Yeah, so 24. Let's just go for gummy bears. Alright, let's just go for gummy bears. The quantity, let's go for 45. So 1080. So that's basically our program, right?